special mythic is coming to the game very soon, because now that Midas is free, Jules, his daughter, who constructed the Doomsday device for Midas, has built this gauntlet for Midas made from Hades' chain. This gauntlet has some special powers. But before that, let's see how we got here. Please leave a like, subscribe, and use code SMJM. Going all the way back to chapter 1, our very first mythic we received was Thanos' gauntlet. This gave you over 1,000 health, but you weren't able to build. This gave you the ability to jump really high, do smash attacks, and then shoot a laser. This wasn't an LTM, this was actually in a normal game. After this, Fortnite decided to do a DC collaboration. Tilted is replaced by Gotham City. We got Batman and Catwoman, and Batman brought with him 2 mythic weapons, a mythic grappler and a batarang. Batarang was an explosive weapon, and the Batman grappler allowed you to grapple extremely high buildings. And in chapter 2, Fortnite really spoiled us and gave us 12 new superhero mythic weapons. Wolverine's claws were a close range weapon. It was a very powerful item. It tore opponents to pieces if you slash them with the Wolverine claws. And to get these mythic claws, you had to eliminate the super scary Wolverine boss, who had the ability to revive himself. And if you think this was OP, wait till you hear about Iron Man's Unibeam. This was a mythic everyone wanted to get their hands on. It shot out a giant laser out of your chest, blasting through at least 2 layers of structures. So that means you couldn't even box up, and that laser would destroy them and deal 90 damage to the players behind them. But sadly, we couldn't say the same about Dr. Doom's mythics. Just like Iron Man, he dropped a gauntlet. You could shoot these lasers, shoot a giant green energy ball. Sadly, these weren't that good. Another very cool mythic added same season was Thor's mythic weapon. You would literally point at a spot and summon Thor's hammer. This would destroy an entire building. Black Panther's armored mythic was added to the game. This would generate kinetic energy, create a mini explosion, dealing damage to your opponents within that area. Storm's tornado launcher was a very unique mythic added to the game. This was a very useful mythic if you're in a build fight and if you wanted to push your opponent to take full damage. Also, while using this mythic, you would not take any damage. A Hulk had a mythic as well. It was called the Hulk Smash. It gave you the ability to jump extremely high and charge and smash the ground. Also, while you're on the ground, just like the Wolverine claws, you could punch people. And we had Groot's Bramble Shield. This was a very unique mythic. Basically, you would roll around in this bramble. You could heal and also deal damage to structures and opponents. In chapter 2 season 5, we got a desert biome. We find a crashed spaceship. Turns out the spaceship belonged to Mandalorian. He brought with him 2 mythics, a Mandalorian jetpack and a Mandalorian sniper rifle. It had a thermal scope and you could stab someone. The same season, we find a mysterious pod in this jungle location. Turns out the pod belonged to the Predator, and he had a very unique mythic item, Invisibility Cloak. It worked exactly like the invisibility gauntlet, but back then this was very unique. You could turn invisible, sneak up on a player, and they would have no clue. Season 7, we got a Rick and Morty collaboration, and we got this mythic called a Grabatron. This weapon allowed you to grab literally anything, including rockets, and throw them at your enemies. This wasn't the best mythic weapon of the season. It was this Venom's symbiote. And not just Venom, we got Venom and Carnage mythics. You could get these mythics around the Fortnite map by extracting these capsules. And this mythic allowed you to glide infinitely, and also this allowed you to pull your opponents towards you, do 60 damage, and pump them in the face. In Season 8, our very first anime collaboration, we got a mythic weapon. We got Naruto and his kunai weapon. Since this was a very anticipated collaboration, everyone everyone was extremely excited. It worked kind of like the Batarang. It was a throwable weapon. Dagger would stick to your opponent and then explode, doing more damage. Dragon Ball Z Mythic has to be the most OP anime mythic ever added to the game. I am talking about the Kamehameha and the Nimbus Cloud. The Nimbus Cloud was a great mobility. If you activated the Nimbus Cloud, you would go fly in, you could glide, and also cancel your glide as well. This gave you the ability to take high grounds from your enemies and also sneak up on them and just one pump them. But the most OP was the Kamehameha. You could charge this mythic and shoot your opponent with a energy beam that would instantly eliminate them in one shot. Not just that, you could keep dealing damage as well till they're down. In Chapter 3, we get our very first Spider-Man collaboration, and he brought with him this amazing mythic mobility, Spider-Man's web shooter. You could find this mythic item inside of Peter Parker's bag around the map. You could use this 60 times, and if you landed on the ground, you would have to recharge before you use it again. This was so OP that you could get from one end of the map to the other in less than a minute. And if you think this was OP, wait till you hear about Deku's Smash. Chapter 4 Season 1 trailer, we saw Deku from My Hero Academia using this mythic. It was similar to Dragon Ball Z, but more powerful. You would charge this device, shoot a shockwave that would destroy an entire building. You could find them in these crates, and they had 3 charges and they would just disappear after a while. Now, if you were an opponent and if someone's just shooting this at you, you would know this by hearing the Deku scream, and your screen would turn green. But if you were within the range of this, not only you but your entire squad could get eliminated by this one shot. This was so powerful, Fortnite had to vault this item after players complained. And also, we were getting a brand new mythic weapon. A highly anticipated collaboration, Attack on Titan, was here in Chapter 4 Season 2. This season, we got 2 different mythic weapons, the ODM gear. This works sort of like the Spider-Man's web shooter. You could swing around the map using these grapplers, but what's unique about these is that you could also do this dash attack using the katanas. And also, we got these explosives weapon just like the kunai. You would throw them, it would stick to a surface or your body and then explode, dealing more damage to you and your teammates. In the trailer of Season 3 of Chapter 2, we saw this mysterious device inside of Rumble Ruins. Turned out this was a Transformers mythic weapon. This was the mythic Cybertron Blaster. You dealt 110 damage to your opponents, shooting energy balls. The only thing was it would push you back as well, and sometimes people would fall off a cliff and deal damage. In the Season 3 trailer, we saw this glowing llama. Now, we didn't know what it was until just out of the blue, we get this Jujutsu Kaisen collaboration. And around the map, you could find these glowing llamas. And if you search them, you would get Purple Hollow Mythic and Straw Doll Mythic. The Purple Hollow Mythic was a chargeable mythic. You would charge them and then shoot this purple energy ball. And this energy ball would not only deal damage to your opponent, but also deal damage to buildings as well. And the Straw Doll was an explosive weapon. You would throw these hammers to your opponents. They would stick, explode, deal damage to you and your teammates. This exploded 3 times, dealing a total of 120 damage. The best way to use these mythic weapons was using as a combo, mixing a hammer with the purple energy ball. So you would basically spam the hammer, deal damage to your opponents, and use the purple energy ball to finish them off. Now in Chapter 5, we have a bunch of new mythic weapons like Zeus's Mythic, Hades Chain. And And it looks like Midas is coming up with his own mythic as well. Midas's gauntlets. You all know that Kato Thorn chopped Midas's arm and took it with him. Jules has constructed a brand new arm using the power of Hades' chain. Leave a like on this video if you want to see this mythic in game. Also, please use code SMJM.